Welcome to our midweek Bible study. We're grateful that we're able to gather together and worship tonight. It's good to see everybody here with us. Let me just ask you to take the sheet that you received when you came in. Look at the bottom of it. I want to just mention a couple of quick things, and then we're going to move right on with our program tonight. Just a couple of reminders. This Sunday is the final Sunday of our prospect discovery, so please remember that. We've been doing that during the month of January, and so if you have, I think this time, this week's supposed to be neighbors. So if you have information on neighbors, someone who either needs a relationship with the Lord or a place to worship, I want you to submit that information to us. We're going to pray for those prospects all during the month of February, and then begin to reach out. And so you can turn those in your Sunday school class on Sunday morning, or you can turn them in back at the welcome table. So be sure and do that for us, and be in prayer for that. The discovery class begins February the 5th during Sunday school, 9 o'clock each week. So again, if you'd like to participate in that, please let Pastor Gary know or call us, let us know. That will begin on the 5th of February, and it's a great opportunity, so I encourage you to do that. I'll let you read the announcement regarding the Parents' Night Out that's at the bottom there. This is something our youth group is sponsoring to give parents a night out for a couple hours. This is February the 11th. This is for basically child care, children all the way up through high school to have a place to be while mom and dad go out. If you'd like to take advantage of that, please read through that. The proceeds of it will go toward our youth being able to attend winter retreat in March, and maybe even a little bit toward camp this summer. So if you'd like to participate in that, please let Colton know as soon as you can. We're glad to have our children in here tonight, and it's good to see all of you. We've got a couple of other folks that are here with us tonight that are guests. We're glad that you're here. You knew that your girl's in the back, right? All right, y'all knew that. They were trying to get your attention, but well, you saw them, but they said you had not spoken to them yet. So oh, I got you. All right. So anyway, we're glad they're here. Okay. Let me just mention real quick before we move on that next Wednesday night we will begin our new Bible study series, and it's going to be on the Book of James. Anybody ever been through the Book of James before? All right. If you've ever been through the Book of James before, you know what you're in for. If not, you'll discover that it is indeed one of the most, as far as day-to-day living, as far as issues that we face every single day. Practical. It's a practical book. It's a convicting book. In fact, if we really want a healthy walk with God, it would do us good to go through the Book of James about 2 times a year. So we'll start that next Wednesday night, and hope that you'll plan to be here for that. I think it'll be a really good study. Well, we want to take some time tonight and let you hear about a very special ministry. I think most of you are familiar with Bringing Miracles, and it's one of the first things I learned about when we came here. And even though we've been familiar with it, I've never really heard a lot of the story. But we're very grateful for what God has done. And as you hear the story about what God is doing in Kenya through this ministry, I know that we'll be able to pray more intelligently, and you'll be able to also find out some ways that as we continue on, that you'll be able to connect and be involved in this ministry. So I've asked Brother Darrell Balcom and Miss Cindy to come and share tonight. They made a journey there down to Kenya in late November, right? You were there, 2 weeks? 10 days, 2 weeks. And so they're going to share a little bit about that and just about the ministry as a whole. And so you pray for them as they come and share with us tonight. So guys, y'all come on, and who's going to start out? All right, you come on, and y'all pray for them as they share tonight. All right?
Thank you so much for letting us have a chance to share. I really appreciate it. I wanted to point out a couple things because I'll forget if I don't say it now. I did put up a few items if the children or anybody would like to look at them. There's some pictures and books and some artifacts, and there's a sign-up sheet on the table where you picked up your prayer stuff. You can sign up for the newsletter if you're interested in finding out more about what happens from month to month. I've shared this with different people at different times, but just to make sure everybody understands kind of how the ministry began, I was 50 years old, and I had been really praying, crying out to God to use me somehow. I could see that my children I was almost having an empty nest, and that's a huge transition for parents. And I had always felt like I had a call on my life for ministry and missions. And I just, you get married, you have children, you get busy. And that's what I did. And but my son, after he graduated college, his name is Brian, he finished at NC State, and he wanted to serve the Lord for that next year in Africa. So he went through a group called Adventures with Missions in Georgia, and they sent him and a team of, I think it was 8 other young people that were around his age, some younger, some older, and they were a team that lived right on the edge of the slum. And they had to have a guard watch over them and everything. But my son contacted me after he'd been there a while, and he said, "Mom, would you like to make a field trip over to Kenya?" And I was really excited about it and grateful for an opportunity to see how the Lord was using him. And so I told him, I said, "Brian, if I go, I don't want to be a tourist. I want to see what you're doing. I want to participate with you if I can." And so he took me at my word, and straight off the plane, we went into the heart of the slum. And woo, that was something else. It was overwhelming. Daryl will probably share a little bit because it's really fresh for him, being the first time. But so we went into the slum. I saw mothers with little babies. I saw children holding tiny children, taking care of them. I saw trash everywhere. The smells were amazing, not in a good way. And it was overwhelming for all my senses. But the Lord and the grace that He gave to me during that time allowed me to be able to keep going without landing in a heap and crying, because my natural person, that's what I would have done, because it was so overwhelming. But he spent a lot of time mentoring young boys in the slum, and one of the young boys' name was Oscar. And he did Bible studies with them, discipleship. They went in door to door to visit different elderly people and young people, just to pray with them and spend time with them. And so I got to meet the boys that he was mentoring, and one in particular wanted me to meet his mom. And so I went into the slum, into her little humble dwelling, about like an 8x10 wood and mud, and with a corrugated metal around the top of it. And it was really tight in there. They had one bed that all of them slept in. And, the floor was dirt. They had fixed it the best that they could, but it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And I noticed, I went to her little place a couple different times, several times, and saw that every time she would fix food, she would cook these mandazis that are kind of like a donut. All these little children would come into her little abode, and she always shared with them. Even if we were like tearing off pieces to give to them, they knew that they could find some food at Monica's house. And so it just blew me away how she had nothing, and yet she was sharing from the nothing that she had. And so when I left, I didn't have to spend much money. It wasn't, that expensive, since I wasn't really a tourist. And I just felt led to give her the money that I had left. To me, it wasn't a lot. It was about $200. And I thought, in my human thinking, my natural thinking that Pastor Billy talked about on Sunday, I was thinking, oh, she's going to be able to get out of the slum. Her and her family can get out of the slum. And that's not what she did. What she did was she took the money, rented a big building, well, big for that area, and she started feeding more kids. And pretty much from the start, there was over 100 kids coming to eat there. And she began to realize, it's good that they're getting food, but really we should be teaching these children something. So from there, it started becoming a school. First, it was untrained teachers who had, the knowledge that they were taught, that they passed on to the kids. And then as it grew, we were able to build a school by the grace of God in 2014 that each school year, more than 500 kids go to school. We have a primary school. It's from baby class, like 3- and 4-year-olds, on up to 8th grade until this January. And a lot of stuff has changed. But anyway, so that's how the school began, and the nonprofit is called Bringing Miracles. It supports the school in its entirety. And Daryl will share more about those kind of things later. But y'all, it's been such a huge step of faith to do something like this. If I'd known what was coming, I would have ran the other way like Jonah did. Just said this, I can't handle this, Lord. This is too much. But it grows your faith when, He keeps providing. He keeps showing up for these kids. He loves them more than I do. I love them a lot, but He loves them perfectly and knows exactly what they need. And so I hope you'll enjoy our little video about the trip.
Daryl and I were able to be greeted by the children and listen to them sing, recite poems, and dance. And some was in English and some was in Swahili.
Ready to present to you our poem and our song entitled Be a Good Citizen. So sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. Welcome. Be a good citizen. Obey the school rules. Work hard in school. Be kind to everyone. Equals. Being a good citizen is all you need to be happy. We have a song. It is Rejoice.
No clap for yourself.
I dream that will never fade. My present situation is a mere passing mood. Every mighty tree was once a crying baby. Every huge tree was once a tiny seed. Every little building was once a drawing on a paper, and so is my dream. This journey seems so long, yet I will not give up. The path has frozen all over, but I will not give up. But I will not give up. Things don't seem to work my way.
We're teaching the children how powerful prayer is. And so when there are needs, we ask them to be praying along with us, that God would meet those needs and be their provision. And that way they get to see the power of prayer and how God answers. Our teachers decided to pitch in today. Our students pitched in too. Our staff are very excited about the new changes.
So how did it go today? It was exciting?
Yeah.
Did you do well?
Yes.
I'm so proud of you. I know you did great. Very good.
Yeah.
Sindio? Yeah, so nani ataanza?
Pero. Feels good. Amen. Feels good again. Amen. My name is Veronica. I have a memory verse. My memory verse comes from the book of Psalms chapter 115 verse 13. It says, He will bless those who honor the Lord, both the great and the small. Amen. Amen. I promise.
So her memory verse is just encouraging us to always obey the Lord. For the Lord always cares for the one who obeys him. Sindio? Tumche Mungu, tuheshimu Mungu, alafu atatupea vitu tunataka in life. Sindio? So that was a good one. So another person. Amen. Amen.
My name is Michelle, and I have a memory verse. My memory verse comes from the book of Deuteronomy chapter 20 verse 1. It says, If you obey and all faithfully keep all his commandments that I'm giving you today, you will bless and make it greater than any nation.
Amen.
Okay, well, I hope that gives you some sense of what's going on over there in Kenya. I really felt like a celebrity. Everywhere I went, the kids wanted to either shake my hand or give me a fist bump. So I don't think they'd seen too many white people, but so it was a good experience. But it's good to be home. As Cindy mentioned, the sights and smells. I mean, there's a railroad track that runs right beside the slum, and there's trash piled all around. And right when you cross the railroad tracks, you can get the smell of the slum. So it's an experience to the senses. But it's glad to be home, and glad that I went. So it was very good.
Can I just say one thing that was really cute? They loved Daryl. They just loved him. They wanted to sit in his lap.
I wanted to play my pen.
Play with his pen.
Play with my hair
and
on my arms.
They would just sit there like, they were so enthralled by that.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. It really was.
They were. All right, I got a couple slides. So slide 1, if y'all go ahead and put that up. Just to kind of give you an idea about bringing miracles. You can see the revenue that we take in has been growing pretty steadily for each year from 20, 21, and 22. 122,000 donations and a couple thousand in fundraising income. We really need to bump up the fundraising income. That's because we got some increasing needs there. But so the total income for last year is 124, and you can see almost all of that went to Kibera, the Kenyan ministry. And also, Cindy's got a relation with a pastor in Haiti, so we supported him to a smaller amount in the other ministries. And then we had some internet, bank charges, and supplies. So that brought total expenses to $115,000, which may be a little misleading because most of the tuition paid for the high schools comes in the first part of the year. So all that money, the $9,000 that you see, went toward tuition. And since the first of the year, I believe Cindy said we'd paid about $30,000 for high school tuition and supplies for the kids to go to high school. She says $35,000, so it's quite a bit of money there. And we do not take any salary, don't take any expenses for ourselves, and we paid for our own expenses to travel there. So you can see all the money that's raised goes back into the ministry and or the supplies. So slide number 2. We received about $13,000 for the trip from Lakeview and also from individuals. And here's how we spent the money. The uniforms for the children were about $4,600. I think there were, 457 students or thereabout. So we provided uniforms to them, except for sweaters and shoes, which we tried to just do the basic uniform without the other stuff that went along with it. And then some of the desks were in really bad shape. They were falling apart in some cases. So we got 40 new desks for the students, which they sit at 4 students per desk. So they really cram them into the rooms. They probably get 8 or 10 desks per room. So you're talking 40 to 50 students in each little room, in which the rooms are probably maybe 15 by 20, something like that, if that. So they really cram them in. And then we also had some building repairs. I think you saw the windows that were replaced, the gutters that were added, and then the copier and computer for them, that helped them out. And the sidewalk, yep. So the remainder was $3,477, which went toward the monthly needs as well as tuition payments for the high school students. So we appreciate all the donations and the help, and it was really for a good purpose there. Next slide. This is the monthly budget for 2023, and it actually may be a little bit low because costs are continuing to go up. The salaries for the teachers, cooks, and janitors is about $37,800, and then food for the students. I think you saw some of the food that we provide for them is rice and beans and just basic carbohydrate meals, stuff that's pretty cheap to fix. Get some meats too. What?
Beans.
Beans, yeah, beans. A lot of protein and stuff. Let's see, what else was I going to say? We also feed the students even when they're not in school, because a lot of them don't have anything at home to eat. So they come to the school even on holidays, or like I think they were off when we were there, but they came to the school anyway to get food. So, and the utility cost is about $2,500. The teaching supplies, which is not that much, is still $3,700. And the insurance, they provide insurance for the teachers and staff, and also property insurance. And then the really big items, we just recently started, the uniforms, I think I mentioned a while ago, was $4,600, but if you consider uniforms, shoes, sweaters, it would be about $14,000. So that's potentially a little bit of savings there. But then on the tuition and expenses for the high school students, there's about 105 students in grades 9 through 12, which they don't go to this school. It's only for the primary age kids from kindergarten to about 8th grade. And then we have to pay tuition for them to go to the high schools. So if you look at that, the tuition part of it's about $55,000. And then on top of that, we have to buy, mattresses and shirts, pants, stuff for them to have when they go to the schools. And that's another $11,000 or $12,000. But Cindy was telling me that those costs have gone up. But in our budget, we've got $67,000 for tuition and expenses for high school. So you can see the $147,000, and on the first slide we had $122,000 revenue. So you can see that we need to continue to increase the revenue each year, and we would be happy. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention: the $122,000. We have about 55 or 60 people that donate. We are supported by 4 churches, 2 in Union County, 2 in Mecklenburg County, and then several individuals. A couple in Charlotte provides a large amount of support for us, and then we put some money into it as well. But so that's what I have. Any questions, or see if Cindy's got anything she wants to say? Any comments? David? $200, yep. Yeah, Monica is the one that runs the school, and she's really got a heart for those kids, and she's very thrifty with the funds, the money, and we actually stayed with her when we were there, and she does a really, really good job with all that. And she's got some very dedicated teachers, although they're probably underpaid, so it's going to be hard to continue to hang on to them.
Tell us what is the salary? Tell people what the teachers make.
The teachers for the last 2 or 3 years through the pandemic, one that has training makes about $180 a month, $180. But most people in the slum make less than $1 a day. So that's why they can't afford to send their kids to school. So they're wealthy compared to everybody else in the slum. But it's not much, but they're grateful for that. And actually, with the February budget, they're going to each get approximately a 20% raise for every single worker. And we're just trusting God to provide.
I forgot to mention that the unemployment rate is about 50% in Kibera. You see a lot of males, especially, sitting around really not doing anything. I don't know if it's lack of work, lack of opportunity, or lack of motivation, but unemployment's high, and a lot of them don't have the dedication and the willpower to get out and work. It's totally different than what you find in the U.S. But anyway, so.
When you don't have anything, it's like a vicious cycle that kind of gets created there, and we just continue to pray for them and expect God to make changes. I truly believe a lot of these children that are receiving training and education will come back and be strong leaders for the area. And I'm already seeing some of the fruit of that occurring now. So I'm very grateful for being a part of what God's doing. And anytime you want to ask me, I'll bend your ear for a long time. If you really want to know, I will. Because I love to talk about what the Lord has done. He's just been so good and provided, and I'm extremely grateful. And thank you guys for being supportive and just sharing with them. It means everything to them. So I don't even, am I doing okay on time?
We got plenty.
Go ahead.
How would, I don't know where the library is, but how do people, they just go to your website, they can start making donations? That's the best way to handle it?
You can do it on the website. It goes through PayPal, and they take a little chunk out of it.
2%, 3%, something like that.
So, or doing checks to Bringing Miracles is probably the best way. Everything gets deposited and sent for them to use.
And you can actually do it through Lakeview, and then Vicki writes Bringing Miracles a check. So if you'd rather do it that way, that's fine too.
Yeah, I don't want to be a burden to them, but whatever you feel led to do.
You've got a newsletter sign-up sheet back there. Did you want to mention that? And say a word about that? I just noticed it when I came in.
I think I may have said something. I don't remember. But yeah, please sign up if you're interested. And we're available for questions. We appreciate you guys so much.
All right, let me ask our young people in the back. Anybody got a question back there? Y'all got to have a question about something. Anybody got something you want to ask? This is a ministry that I've been very familiar with since we got here, but it's good just to hear a little bit of the backstory and what's going on. Anybody got a question? Adults, you can answer too now. You got something you want to ask?
Started, I believe, in 2017, or 2007.
So 16 years?
Yeah, 16 years or so. Yeah, that little, what?
That when Brian did?
I believe he went right after college, so, yeah. He would graduate in 2006, so yeah, that's about right.
We're just going to let them look at the...
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Y'all go right ahead. I thought we were being invaded for a minute. No, we're good. I don't know if we've got do we have anybody in here that's actually been to Kenya? All right, Miss Olivia's been. Have you,
Jody and I had the opportunity to go back, and that's right. And you went a couple years before we did.
now, how many times have you been?
Only once.
One time. Brother Phil, you've been. Brother Phil's been one time, and he's told me the thrill of being able to preach at the spur of the moment. Isn't that right? Wasn't that fun? No, it was a great experience, wasn't it? So we've had folks that have gone, and we intend to go back. We want to go back, so we would love to go back and do some things. You might have noticed on the slides that they talked about crusades and things like that. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed tremendously, I've been to various countries, is one of the things I've always loved to do is to go and get pastors together in those areas and just encourage them, share with them, invest in them. And so I've shared with Miss Cindy, it's something I'd love to do in this area, because these people can really, really benefit and just appreciate anything that's done. So we're praying about maybe doing something, maybe even toward the end of this year. So just help us pray about that, and just any way to encourage them as they try to encourage their people. So anyway, all right. Anybody else got a question you want to ask? All right. There was one video of you that y'all didn't show, but there was a video with the dancing in the middle of a big circle of people. Guess who stood out?
Bucket hat and white and all.
Couldn't miss him. Couldn't miss him.
I had one one little girl, she was probably 3 years old. She always liked to sit on my lap, but they were special.
All right, so Brother Darrell, tell just real quick as we close out here, what are some things that you can think of, maybe just some specific needs? Obviously, we've already heard about one financially, but what are some other needs, maybe some other things that we can pray for?
Let's see. Let me think a minute. Financial needs. Just that some of the high school students are maybe more motivated than the others, and the ones that are not motivated, we don't want to send them to high school to just go there just for the sake of going. So they maybe could not go and do some kind of trade or something. Kind of do that. So just that we'd have discernment over which high school students should go and which should maybe do a trade. And also pray for fundraising opportunities. Like I mentioned, we have a couple in Charlotte that have really supported us, and he's got some fundraising ideas. So we need to maybe pursue that and try to get some additional funds coming in. So those are a couple of the needs that we have. So just prayer above all, though.
If you sign up for the newsletter back there, you can get updates on what's going on. There'll be other specific prayer needs back there. Obviously, we need to continue to pray for open doors and opportunities. What is the form of government in Kibera? Is it what's the structure like? Is it do they pretty much have freedom to do?
Yeah, they seem to have freedom. I
Okay.
didn't really see any restrictions on them, but
Okay.
just monetary restrictions. I'll mention this. We did take them to KFC for an appreciation lunch, and boy, they were thrilled to go to KFC. I mean, and a lot of them had never been to the mall where KFC was, and so they're just very limited in. Well, of course, they don't make that much money, so they're very limited in what they can do, and they're very appreciative of whatever can be done for them. So.
All right. Well, listen. Let's give the Lord a praise and thank God for this ministry. Would you help me do that tonight? Brother Darrell, thank y'all for sharing. And Miss Cindy, is there anything else you wanted to add? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing with us tonight. We're grateful. Please pray for them. Pray for the ongoing ministry there in Kenya, we're grateful for what God is doing. It always makes a difference. You cannot go on a mission trip of any kind and not be changed. It's impossible. It doesn't matter where it is or what you do. You cannot go and not be changed. It is absolutely an amazing experience. So whether it's...
Speaking on that, Jody and I, we were just talking back there when we had the opportunity to go in 2019. Being an educator, do I need that? I got a pretty loud mouth. Being an educator and going there, I always wanted to go, but the timing just never seemed right because the kids were either too young or it just wasn't the right time. And then when we had the opportunity to go with the group that we went with, and a life-changing experience. I still talk to Cindy and have that urge, and seeing these kids, they're hungry for learning. And it just blew my mind. Here we are and teaching here, and I had all these technologies in class. I've got computers, I have a whiteboard, I have laptops, and yet here I am in a school that the chalkboard was painted on the wall. I mean, I had a little piece of chalk. They have one set of books. One set for the whole class. Not each kid has, they don't have books like my kids at school. They have multiple books to choose from. But I stood up and taught a lesson that I did here to them there. And they followed just along, just like anybody else. And they just want to know. They ask questions, and just that hunger and seeing that, providing that opportunity for those high schoolers to go on and to be educated. It was just a beautiful, exciting experience. Saw a lot of things that, we're not used to seeing, and smells, like Darrell said. You can't quite get that out of your nose after a while. But it was just, they were so welcoming to us, the kids, the teachers, and my hat's off to my fellow educators down there, those other teachers. You know, $180 just is not justice for what they do. And it's not just teaching, they were cleaning. They were fixing the food, you know, help fixing the food. So I just can't say enough about what they really do down there and the opportunities that this foundation gives to the kids down there. So Jody and I may be speaking for back there, said that would go back.
Sign them up. Okay, thank you again for being here tonight, and do pray for this ministry and pray for the folks there. There is some transition going on with the schools now, changes going on, and so I know they're going to be navigating that as we get on into this year. Just some things that are being, various things, a lot of uncertainty. So be in prayer for them. And thank y'all for sharing. That was a great job. We appreciate you. One more time, give the Lord praise, okay? All right, thank you very much, and we appreciate you being here tonight. Everybody take your prayer list out, if you would, please. And let's take some time to go over our prayer list. And what we always do on Wednesday night is we always have a time of praise. So I want to take a moment and see if anybody has an answered prayer or a special blessing or something just to thank God for, because we always do that before we have our requests. So I'm going to open the floor. Anybody got a praise that you'd like to share tonight?